The truth is, when you're in your 40s, you become cynical. You realize that a lot of people tell you things, but they mean another thing. They say that they want to get an education, but they actually don't want to put in the work. They say they want to build something, maybe it's a startup, but then when the push comes to shove and it requires you to endlessly commit and have consistency for an enormous amount of time, they decide otherwise. The truth is, you become so cynical that you begin to question everything around you. And you start looking at the world and saying, you know what? Most people are full of crap. But how do you change this? What do you actually do? And this is where you have to have hope. Your hope is for you to build something that is important. And the only way that you can show to other people that this thing is important is to get back up and do it again every day. You realize that you're not going to get a lot of support. You realize that it's up to you and only you to keep the thing going. And so you can decide to let that cynicism overtake you, and you become part of the system where you simply just look at the world and you realize, like, yeah, you know, it is pretty bad. And a lot of people do say one thing, but they mean another. Yeah, you know, they're not willing to put in the work. And the only thing that you can do is to stand up and say, that's not going to be me. I'm not going to get overtaken by cynicism. You know, that is the real truth, is that a lot of people don't. They just simply are self-interested. They don't want to do things because it requires a lot of effort and time. And so they do things like impression management. They tell you one thing and mean another. And so you inside have to decide, am I going to be the person that is going to be overtaken by an enormous amount of cynicism, or am I going to be the person that's going to hope? And the only way that I know to do that is to get back up and do it again and not fit in with everything. And I think that's an important lesson that you have to decide upon. And you see a lot of people, by the time you start seeing it in your late 20s, you really start seeing in your 30s, in your 40s. By that time, most people have given up and they think that they can't do something. They think that they've lost it. And in their 50s, well, they're past. And so it's up to you to decide to say, I'm going to have hope today. I'm going to change something. I'm going to be the one that does this. And I'm going to not have any support. And I'm just going to stand up and do this because I think it's actually really incredibly important. And it's your life at the end of the day, where you decide that you can do something. You can change the world. You can change your world, not the whole world, your world. You can get an education. You can start losing weight, getting exercise. You can do any number of different things. For me, it's building the reciprocity platform, which is insanity if you think about it. It's me. I'm trying to change the academic game to level the playing field, to make it more democratic so that anybody around the world can write a research paper. You know, many times that I get laughed at, I get a smile, I get one of those things where people think like that's a stupid idea. Well, I have hope, and that's the only thing I can do, is to get back up and do it again every day on a Sunday morning when it's cold, put out the messages that I've been doing. It's the only thing I know how. That is the only thing And if you were on the other side and you're watching this and you think, oh, this is silly, he's wasting his time, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask you, how else would you do it? What's the solution? And if there is this amazing solution that jumped up and it was easy, don't you think I would do it? And so it's me showing up every day, doing messages, trying my heart out for 8 years. And I'm going to keep doing that every day until it turns into something. We're going to keep building it. We're going to keep trying and working and putting this thing together until it starts to click. And I want you to reflect on that, because this is a lesson with everything. Everything takes an enormous amount of time and effort, and that's because everybody doesn't believe in it. They're self-centered, they're focused on their self, and they want something that comes easy. If you want to change the world, your little tiny world, you have to acknowledge it's going to be hard, miserable, and exhausting. But the only thing that you can do is to have hope.